Welcome, friend. Tonight, let us step softly into the past, into a time when the world was slower, rougher, and filled with quiet mysteries. Close your eyes, if you wish, and picture the cobbled lanes and dusty tracks of medieval Europe. For tonight, we will follow the footsteps of a humble traveler, a peasant on the road. In the Middle Ages, travel was not a luxury, nor was it easy. For the common peasant, most days were spent tied to the soil, tending crops, caring for animals, paying rent to the local lord. Yet sometimes, life required a journey. Perhaps a pilgrimage to a holy shrine. Perhaps a trip to a bustling market. Or perhaps, simply the pull of distant family. The roads themselves were not like the highways we know today. Many were little more than muddy tracks, carved by carts and boots, sometimes washed out by rain. Bandits were a constant danger. So were wolves, lingering at the edges of dark forests. And yet, peasants still walked them. Our traveler begins at dawn. With a woolen cloak, a coarse loaf of bread, and perhaps a flask of ale, he steps out onto the road. His shoes, little more than rough leather, wear thin quickly. Each step is slow, steady, measured. The path winds through fields and over hills, sometimes dipping into the shelter of a thick wood. Here, the air grows cooler, hushed with the secrets of leaves and loam. Sunlight dapples through the canopy, painting shifting patterns on the ground. Birds call from hidden perches, their songs echoing softly. The scent of pine mingles with the damp earth, creating an aroma both earthy and sweet. The traveler pauses, listening to the symphony of the forest, its melody as old as time itself. Then, with a deep breath, he continues on his way. The sun climbs higher, the heat of the day beginning to press down. The traveler feels the sweat prickling on his brow. Up ahead, a bend in the road reveals a splash of color, a weathered signpost pointing to a cluster of thatched roofs, nestled amidst the trees. There, beside a babbling brook, sits an alehouse. The traveler approaches, his steps quickening. The tinkling of a bell announces his arrival. A dog barks once, twice, then bounds away, disappearing behind the door. The traveler reaches out, knocks. A moment passes. Then the door opens, revealing a warm, inviting glow. Inside, the air is filled with the aroma of wood smoke and roasting meat. A roaring fire crackles in the hearth, casting dancing shadows on the timbered walls. Rough-hewn tables and benches are scattered about, some occupied by men and women engaged in lively conversation, others empty, waiting for weary travelers like himself. The bar is stocked with tankards and flagons, ready to be filled with ale or cider. Above, a line of slung dried herbs adds a touch of greenery to the rustic interior. In the corner, a well-worn staircase creaks invitingly. The traveler steps inside, greeted by the hearty welcome of the innkeeper. "Welcome, traveler. Welcome to the Resting Dragon. What brings you to these parts?" As the night deepens, tales spin and flow like the ale. The traveler sits with newfound friends, sharing stories of his journey and listening intently to theirs. Laughter mingles with the music of a lone bard, whose nimble fingers dance across the strings of his lute. The room is alive with merriment, the air thick with camaraderie. Outside, the wind may howl and rain may lash against the windows, but within the Resting Dragon, there is warmth, there is solace, there is home. For many, the lure of the road is too strong to resist. When dawn breaks, our traveler rises, stretches, his bones aching pleasantly from a night of rest. He steps out into the fresh morning air, feeling rejuvenated, refreshed. By the fire, his cloak feels lighter, his staff sturdier. With a final wave to the innkeeper and his companions, he turns and walks into the rising sun, eager to see what wonders the day may bring. So now we come to a field's edge where wildflowers sway in the gentle breeze, their colors a vibrant tapestry against the green expanse. Before him lies a meadow dotted with grazing sheep, their woolly bodies blending with the soft, rolling hills in the distance. The shepherd tends his flock, his crook held high, his weathered face etched with the wisdom of countless seasons. As the traveler makes his way through the field, the ground shifts beneath his feet, from firm grass to softer, spongy turf. The air hums with the drone of insects, a soothing accompaniment to the bleating of the sheep and the distant call of a lark soaring high above. The sun, a benevolent eye in the azure sky, bathes the landscape in a warm glow, lending a golden hue to the swaying grasses and the woolly sheep alike. Reaching the far side of the field, the traveler pauses, taking in the tranquil scene. Here, time seems to slow, allowing him to appreciate the simple beauty of this pastoral world. In the stillness, he hears the soft thud of a sheep landing. The rustle of wings as a bird takes flight from a nearby tree, and the murmur of the wind whispering through the grasses. It is a symphony of nature's peace, a lullaby of the land, inviting him to pause, to breathe, and to find solace in the quiet grandeur of the great outdoors. And so he stands, a solitary figure, framed by the vast panorama of sky and earth, contemplating the profound serenity of this timeless landscape. Onward he goes, past grazing herds and fields of ripening grain, following the ancient track that has echoed with the footsteps of countless travelers before him. The road rises, offering a panoramic view of the land. Rolling hills stretch to the horizon, broken only by the distant silhouette of a church tower or the gnarled branches of an old tree. The wind whispers through the grasses, carrying with it the sweet scent of wildflowers and the earthy aroma of tilled soil. The traveler takes a deep breath, feeling a sense of exhilaration, mixed with a healthy respect for the vastness of the world. Ahead, the road dips again, disappearing from view. The traveler continues on, his destination still a mystery veiled by the curves of the path. But he walks with a lightness of step, his heart lifted by the boundless beauty of the open road. He walks towards the distant shimmer of a river, its waters reflecting the azure canvas of the sky. As he draws nearer, the sound of running water fills his ears, mingling with the songs of birds that flit among the trees lining the riverbanks. Emerging from the shade of the trees, he finds himself on the banks of a clearing, and there, like a ribbon of silver, flows the river. Its surface is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the cloud formations drifting lazily overhead. Willows and poplars stand guard along the banks, their branches dipping gracefully to touch the water. The traveler follows the river's course, each bend in the stream revealing a new tableau of natural beauty. At times, the river widens, creating a shimmering pool that invites contemplation. In other stretches, it narrows, forcing its way through rocky passages that test its strength. Throughout, the sound of flowing water is a constant, a soothing melody that accompanies the traveler on his journey. The road stretches ahead, leading the traveler towards the unknown. He walks with a steady pace, his eyes scanning the horizon. The sky above is vast, a limitless expanse of blue, dotted with fluffy white clouds that seem to drift lazily in the gentle breeze. The sun shines warmly, bathing the landscape in a golden light that accentuates the play of shadows cast by the swaying trees. In the distance, the faint sound of church bells reaches the traveler, their resonant chimes echoing across the land like a melodic invitation. The bells seem to beckon him forward, promising a respite or perhaps a glimpse into the lives of those who dwell in this picturesque realm. Intrigued and ever curious, the traveler adjusts his pack, straightens his posture, and continues his journey towards the source of the enchanting melody. And so the traveler treads onward, his path guided by the celestial compass above and the melodic whispers of distant bells, each step bringing him closer to the mysteries and marvels that lie ahead. By nightfall, our traveler settles on the edge of a meadow. He eats the last of his bread and lies back, watching the stars. The road stretches on, uncertain and full of dangers, but also of wonder. For in every weary step, he carries the story of his time, a small thread in the vast tapestry of history. And so, let the image of that lone traveler stay with you tonight, soft footsteps fading into the mist of memory. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this calming exploration of history, I invite you to subscribe, so that together we can wander further through the past. And if you wish, tell me in the comments, would you have dared to travel the medieval roads?